Welcome to the Introduction to Patterned Peacock Inlay Die and Embossing folder. These two products work beautifully together, but also work well on their own. First, we have the Peacock Inlay Die, which fills up an entire card front and it does cut out everything that you see. So the outline, the inside piece, and then even a smaller inside piece. And then there's an additional die to help kind of fill in the smaller piece. And then we have our embossing folder, which is going to give it a nice, I call it a billowing look because it is a beautiful design once embossed. What I like to do when using inlay dies like this is I die cut it from a color of cardstock and then I place that onto a piece of press and seal. Now, after I use my cover plate die a couple times, it sticks really well to the cover plate. So all I need to do is put that press and seal on the back, push down really well, and then I can just kind of pop everything into place. Now, after a while, it does start to loosen up, but I find it works really well when I'm working on projects. It also gives me a lot more possibilities and to really use up my scraps. So one of the first things is that you can kind of peel away to give that outline. So that outline that you see in the purple cardstock can be used on its own or to complete the inlay design. Then you have the larger piece that I did out of gold glitter, the inside piece out of sprout, and then those ones that I pointed to on the side would kind of fill in down at that very point, down at the bottom of that very point. So you could do an entire card front with this or use the individual pieces on their own. And I'll show you a variety of those with the card examples that I created. The first card example that I have here is doing kind of that frame piece or the outline piece out of silver glitter cardstock. The larger centerpiece I did out of lilac, and then I have a briar rose and a plumberry. So this is an entire card front panel. I used all of the pieces for those, but then I was able to save all those extra pieces for future projects. And I completed a sentiment for that using the Pretty Peacock die set or stamp set and die set. This is another background I created using the complete panels to do an entire background with that peacock design. This one I went for more kind of traditional peacock colors. So that one I used gold glitter cardstock, harbor, sprout, and midnight cardstock. I also finished that off with a stamped sentiment from the Pretty Peacock stamp and die set. And then my last card project is pairing this with the embossing folder. So this you can see in the background, I have it flipped the side where it's not quite as billowy. The other side is really billowy, kind of reminds me of a pillow. But we have the embossed panel there on white cardstock. And then I was able to fill in those areas in between the embossed lines using gold glitter cardstock, lilac, and briar rose. So that's a fun way to show you that you can use an entire background or just bits and pieces and create your own design. And that is the introduction to the Patterned Peacock Inlay Die and Embossing folder. You can find these products available over at concordandninth.com. Thanks so much for watching.